Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to do a reading into the energies collectively this week. I haven't been around the last week or so, well I've been around but haven't been sharing so many things because I'm actually journeying with the tarot, journeying with the major archetypes of the tarot, and to do that, to receive what was needed this week, it felt very relevant to embody the lessons before sharing them, to really see what resonated and what was coming up for me before I share anything forward, which feels paramount for the energies this year in particular. So I'm on the Chariot today, and one of the clear insights that came up was to look at how I relate to others and myself, and whether or not that restricts me or moves me forward, whether or not that holds me back or empowers me. And we can do that. We can really relate to others and their situation from a compassionate perspective, from an empathic perspective. But if we get caught in the trap of relating on a level where we're experiencing our own stories and our own traumas as well, no one really moves forward individually or collectively. So this is where I'm at with the Chariot today, and I'm really being guided to look at, is it relevant to me? Is it relevant to where I am right now? Is there work for me to be looking at, any healing that needs to occur, or is this something that is occurring around me and the wisdom that I've gained over the years is to therefore be shared in a way that's appropriate? Very, very poignant this year, recognizing what is yours and what is someone else's. And obviously we are all connected. Obviously everything eventually is collective, everything is one, but having the responsibility to recognize what you're being shown, okay, taking that time and pausing before moving on so that you can truly move on. That's what I just heard. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to read from the cards, the Vision Quest. Now, when I first picked these cards up, I didn't really, what's the word? It's not relate. I want to say parallel. I want to say they didn't feel parallel to me. They didn't feel, I don't know what word I'm trying to find, but they felt outside of me, not embodied. Thank you. But yeah, they felt parallel to me. I didn't feel like I'd embodied the cards, which is interesting because they're the Vision Quest cards. They have a very shamanic feel to them. And what guided me to use them was the case that I keep them in. It's covered in stars. It's got some Tipp-Ex there at the bottom as well. And it looks like my fingerprint has been pushed into the Tipp-Ex. But it's covered in stars. And those that know the Chariot card, the light body, the carriage that takes the individual forward is covered in stars. So it felt very relevant to look at the vessel that was moving us forward this week in particular. And I've definitely had to do that over the weekend, actually the week before as well. With my own cycle this month, I was in incredible agony, and going into the pain, right into the pain, allowing my body to express what it needed to express. I could feel shifts in the earth, which sounds so, even when I say it, it's like, oh, I feel the changes of the earth, but I did. And I questioned that. I did, like I just did then, I did think, oh, come on, you're not feeling these things. You have your period, end of, blowing it out of proportion. But it turns out at that point, I really struggled to breathe. I really struggled to use my own breath as a healing tool, which is something I do a lot. And it changed. My breath changed. As a result, this week, my rib cage has been very inflamed, very tightened, very restricted for this energy that's trying to expand within me, this new breath, new air. I then found out later that there were huge shifts in Tonga. There were huge tsunamis that had actually impacted the air pressure in the UK. So where am I going with this? This week in particular feels very poignant to tune into your body every week, every day, every second. It's vital to tune into your body. We can read the cards, we can read the signs, we can have guidance. But if we do not know where our body is at, if we do not use our body as the vessel, the channel for this information, it's always going to have an interpretation on it. It's always going to have, so being an empath my whole life, through trauma, through, studies, through development, through counselling now, whatever, I firmly believe we all have the ability to feel, therefore we all have the ability to be an empath. But being an empath my whole life, one of the most crucial lessons I discovered was to know what is mine. In order to avoid this entanglement of energies. Now that can seem really obvious, but how often do we feel into our body and recognize what is going on there before we connect to others, before we relate to someone else's situation, before we, realize what is going on around us? So really, really, really connecting to the physical vessel this week, this year in particular, feels so vital in order to actually move forward individually and collectively, to know what is ours and what we need. And that's the other thing that's coming up a lot for me this week, basic needs. Ensuring that our basic needs are met, but also recognizing what our basic needs are. I know we have many structures in place that identify basic needs, like Maslow's triangle hierarchy of basic needs or whatever, but they are different for all of us. So really recognizing what your, soul's basic needs are this week as well. So really tuning into your body, but also recognizing what your soul's basic needs are. And it could be tuning into your body. Yeah, so really looking at that. Going to have a quick so with that in mind, just going to do a reading for the energies this week. So I'm looking at the rose on a picture in front of me with Mary Magdalene, and the reason I'm mentioning it is on my own time hop this morning for ceremony for Imbolc. Again, it really feels like this is all building up to Imbolc. For Imbolc, I literally burnt a pine cone. That was it. A pine cone in my fire a year ago in the shape of a rose, which I'd found outside a female prison. And there does feel like there's something there about imprisonment of the feminine leading into Imbolc. So I know a lot of people over the weekend have experienced pain in their sacral, in their root. Mine in particular has been, like I say, my heart, my solar plexus, my rib cage, really stretching that out and just feeling into what you're feeling. I can sense, very clear, I can sense a real ending of contracts, a real ending of timelines, a real ending of everything that is no longer applicable, old stories, whatever you want to call it. But it is up to us to feel where we still hold on to them. Gosh, yeah, I can really feel that. Where we still hold on to them, really tuning into that, recognizing what our soul needs now from us as the physical vessel to move forward, in order to let that all go, in order to actually choose. And it can be as simple as choosing. It really can be as simple as choosing. So I'm going to share a scenario with you. Last week in college, I wanted to look at something. We were talking about the empathic response and how powerful it can be just to be heard without being fixed or, finding a way out or a resolution, but just to be heard, to allow the body to speak. And I wanted to look at something that happened in 2008 and the long-term effects that it had had in my life. Because I believed I'd missed something. I believed that there had to be something there that I still needed to gain, and that was the reason why I hadn't moved forward. Now, hearing myself in this conversation, having space held with no answers given but my own, I recognised that there was nothing there. that all I needed to realise was there was nothing there to gain anymore. And we know this, but there's a difference between knowing and embodying. There's a difference between understanding and truly knowing in our body that that is now done. And underneath that was the acknowledgement now that I was ready to move forward, but that only I could do it. There were no more stories. There were no more, I don't want to call them excuses, reasons. There was just this energy of it's time now, and only you can do that. That feels quite relevant this week, and definitely leading into Imbolc, feeling into whatever pain or sensations you may be having in your body. Knowing what they're about, what old stories they're about, and there's no secret way to do this. Ask your body, just tune into your body. The moment I closed my eyes and looked into my heart, I saw the word restriction. And that's so relevant for me right now. The amount of times I have held back who I am, that's been really coming up for me. And you will find what your own is, but it does take listening to your body. Most of our pain, yes, obviously there's physical dis-ease and everything else and conditions and everything else, but most of our pain energetically comes from separating from our body. And we do that because we've acted a certain way, or we've done something that we don't like, or we've judged ourselves, or others have judged ourselves. And that's where this message this week feels very, very empowering. Look at how you relate to yourself and others. Is it empowering you or restricting you from moving forward? So with that in mind, that's what I was going to come back round to. This last week with the session in college, it was very much, it's just time to make a choice now, to choose. And we all want free will, and it's a very incredible feeling. It's fallen out twice now. So strength card, balance, has fallen out twice now, so we'll see if it comes back out. But it's an incredible feeling to know that we have a choice, and it can be very daunting as well. So with that in mind, let's look at the energies of this week. My eyes have not gone, but they feel like they want to roll into the back of my head. And it does feel like there's an opportunity of release this week. And an incredible release. Not I need to get rid of this, I need to get rid of that. But handing it back over now. Handing it back to, whether you want to call that source, God, spirit, your ancestors, a higher energy, whatever. If you feel this week that you don't know what to do to move forward, hand it over. Ask for help. Ask for guidance. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, overall. And I wanted to pick that one out as well. Okay. So at the bottom of the pack, we have 6 of Earth, which is breakthrough. And that's a sunflower there. All those seeds that have been planted. Yeah, it does mean, obviously a sunflower is a huge plant. It does mean stretching this week in particular. It does mean reaching those higher heights. It does mean growing in order to break through the restrictions that we've put on ourselves. Overall this week we have the Ace of Fire. I want to come back to that. I want to look at everything that's going on this week first before I have that clarity, which feels established. I want to say established. What has been established this week? What is already established in our body, but what is being established this week? Use that to move forward. Use that as the connection now. So on the Monday, now, what are you going to do, body? Excuse me. On the Monday, there is a shift of energy there. An essential, needed, necessary shift of energy there. And it is about taking that time and waiting to see what the body's going to do with that. We have the Seven of Water, which is excess. Okay, a lot of things we've been carrying, and what I see with this card is 7 generations. I do see things that we have carried ancestrally, and just that now leaving, but giving time for the body to know. The body knows what it needs to do. It knows what it needs to do, and it is our job as the guardians just to hold space for the body and let it do what it needs to do, to actually act on the things that we see and feel. So if you feel you need to dance or move to stretch your body, then do that. If you feel you need to rest, then rest. But the body knows what to do. It is about taking that time now to let it do exactly what it needs. So today I have an appointment with physiotherapy online in my room to look at my knees, to strengthen my knees. And the knees are our bones are our ancestors, and it's that support there. But it's about strengthening that now. When we allow our body to do what it needs to do, we also strengthen connection to who we are and source. So the 2 cups that are left there, those 2 of cups, we strengthen that relationship with ourselves and in turn each other. So really taking time today to let the body, I'm hearing the song, let the body move, come on, but to let the body flow, let it do naturally what it needs to do. Okay. It's like, how many times can I say that? Over and over and over, whenever you're feeling something, let my body do what it needs to do. Let my body do what it needs to do. And, or my body knows what it needs to do. Okay, just reaffirming that. It feels like today in particular is very much about recognizing our own ability to heal, our own ability to connect to our body, our own ability to remember this divine relationship between our soul and our body, this 2 of cups, and let go of anything else that isn't relevant anymore. Everything we discover on our path is to help us remember this divine relationship between our soul and our body, mind, spirit. Okay, so let your body show you the way, Monday in particular. On Tuesday, we have 4 of Earth, 4 of Pentacles. In most tarot decks, it's about someone hoarding something. But actually, in this one, it's security. 4 of Earth is security. It's the medicine wheel. Okay, so it's about really looking at what's in the center of everything that you do. Yeah, we have corn here. What's in the center? What is the actual growth? Not the journey as such, not each step, not the stories, but the growth that has occurred. Hold on to that. Let that be your security, the vision of where you're going. Let that be your center point, your soul. So when we travel the medicine wheel, obviously we are connected to all things in the center of the wheel. We then come out into the north, into the unknown. In the east, we discover things. In the south, we heal. In the west, we embody those changes, and we go back into the center. So on the Tuesday, let the soul guide you. Okay, really what you have discovered, not your physical journey, but what you have discovered, let that guide you. Because on the Wednesday, we then have the Ace of Air. A new way of thinking, a new way of connecting. That's all I want to say on the Wednesday. A new way of thinking, a new way of connecting. There is a tendency, an urge, almost a feeling to overcomplicate it on the Wednesday. Keep it simple, keep it clear. You want clarity? Don't confuse the situation. On the Thursday, we have the first major arcana, which is the Fool, the sacred clown, the Heyoka type energy. And, the Fool is very much about the unknown, but also knowing that nothing is unknown and everything is unknown. So really trippy energy on the Thursday, which feels needed in order to transmute what is going on. We can't stay by the cliff forever. There's a lot of things that have been waiting to go into motion, leading up to Imbolc, and it is about recognizing in our body, our mind, our emotions when it is time to take that leap. So on the Thursday, very much lessons around that. Maybe some reflective lessons as well of, oh, I wish I'd done that. I haven't done that. But again, it's just a little trip up to make sure we're letting go of all that excess that came up on the Monday. On the Friday, we have Father of Fire, which is the King of Wands. All of it is to help us remember who we are, to remember our spirit, and to apply that to our actions. Is there anything else that I can see there? So I noticed that he is actually holding the arrow in his hands. He's holding the arrow of the whole week in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. That's what I hear for the Friday. And in the background we have the bison, but we also have a character riding a horse, wild and free. So a bison is very grounded, very strong, has endured and still survived. But you can have freedom in that as well. You can ride that abandonment as well. You don't have to hold on to that. So he's got his arrow, but it's in his arms. He's not actually ready to shoot it yet. He's in his arms. It's in his arms at the moment. And the medicine wheel is a necklace around his neck. So there's still, even though it is the King of Wands, even though we associate wands with gotta get going type energy, he's the mature masculine. He's the sacred masculine. He knows when to act and when to be. And on the Friday, there does need to be balance with that. So it's almost like by the Thursday we get this great idea. Wednesday we get this great idea. On the Thursday we want to act on it. On the Friday it's like pick the bits that you're acting on. Yes, make sure they are not the same things that you've always acted on the Friday. If you want a new arrow, yeah, very much so. If you want a new way of thinking, if you want the overall energy to be new, it's up to us not to act from a place that we haven't become aware of, that we're still holding on to. So on the Saturday, we have the small medicine wheel, which is the Wheel of Fortune. So we've gone from the Four of Earth, the security, to the small medicine wheel. You know, not all change is about us, and this week's reading was very much about how we relate to others as well. And when we hold on to things, it does affect how we relate with those around us, and it does affect their ability to grow in that relationship as well. So really looking at that, we can look at people around us and want there to be change in our relationship, but have we changed in ourselves? Have we empowered their changes to occur, or do we keep pointing back to things that have happened? I really can feel that in my stomach. I don't know if you heard that, but my stomach really grumbled then. Come the Sunday, we do have the Hermit, and it's an opportunity to go within. This week in particular feels quite bitty. It feels like there's lots of different energies, and it can almost feel like a stop-start. I don't want to be here anymore, but I don't know how to move forward type energy. Go within to your body, go within to your soul, go within to what is actually occurring at this point in time. Okay, on the Sunday in particular, but perhaps throughout the whole week, to avoid being a bear with a sore head. So we have a bear in the background there, and it's just walked away. To avoid being a bear with a sore head, which normally comes from a need to overprotect our own boundaries or other people or our family, our beliefs, whatever. They're all going to be questioned this week. They are all going to be questioned this week. And now I'm looking at Monday, the 7 of water, and I'm seeing the 7 chakra energy centers going through a monumental upgrade. But that does mean the energy within it is going to be questioned. Is it relevant anymore? Is this how I move forward in a new way? What am I holding on to? So for me this week, when I was working with the lovers, I connected to Archangel Raphael, which is to be expected. He's the lovers on the card, very much linked to healing, seeing things from a different perspective. a physician, if you will. And when I connected to Raphael, I really clearly got about my healing ability and being a healer. Nothing new, something I've always struggled to own, but nothing new. Something I believe we all have, but nothing new. But what was new was the acceptance of it, the embodying of it. And the moment I did that, the moment I acknowledged part of my truth, I felt all my energy centers start to shift. I recognized that every step with my dis-eases, with my health, every step was all about remembering my ability to heal, which I knew, but I embodied it. I could feel it, and I could feel the knowing of letting go of every step now in order to move forward, of letting go of the hero's journey, which isn't always easy, because the things that have made us who we are, you know, especially the nice things, the things that have given us strength, you know, they've given us strength. But actually they were just steps. We're often told not to focus on the destination, but to focus on the journey. But keeping the destination in mind, where am I going? Is this relevant to my journey? To avoid the excess, to avoid taking on unnecessary pain, unnecessary emotions, not your stuff, basically. Okay, so there are things that will be said, including this video, that will relate to you, and that's because there's something there in your energy body that may need to be looked at or appreciated even. Gosh, you know, when we feel things, it's like, oh, that might need fixing. It might just need appreciating. It might just need appreciating or acknowledging. There are other things that don't resonate, and we make them resonate to fit in or to make it part of our story. And this week in particular, it's time for that to stop. We are on our own journeys within the collective journey, and it's about recognizing that now. Stop holding on to other people's stuff. Stop holding on to the need to relate to other people from a certain level, and take it to the bigger, higher perspective here. On the medicine wheel, we do have, you know, I don't know if you can see that, we have the bird in the center, we have the eagle there, taking it to the higher perspective. On the Tuesday, if we struggle to realize what it is we're holding on to, or for a long time my journey gave me security, it helped me recognize my ability to heal, but it doesn't anymore, it holds me back now. And it is about acknowledging that in our journey and letting go of those things that hold us back now. Really, really important, because they have gone. They have gone, and I really feel that. I feel that in my eyes, my root, my heart. They have gone. It's about us choosing now to catch up with whatever reality is for the next part of our delivery. That's what I want to say. So the other card that came out was the medicine woman, and I'm going to keep her to one side, and it feels very poignant to let that energy direct us this week, to feel into our intuition. You'll know if something's relevant or not, because you won't want to be there. And if you don't want to be in that energy, we can get very caught up in looking at why we don't want to be in there. It can be as simple as, it's not for me anymore, thank you very much. Okay, but it is about really recognizing your intuition, really fine-tuning the ability of your soul and your body in one now, embodying the signs, you know, really becoming what you are, the synchronicities you are seeing outside of you, or not, as the case may be. So quick of my tea, 29 minutes. So, summary, great opportunity for breakthrough this week, but it needs to come from a new drive, a new way of seeing your own spirit and connection. That will provide the catalyst to release whatever isn't required. The security comes from taking stock, taking a moment to feel into the body, to recognize what is still there and what isn't. This will help to clear our mind as well this week. Sometimes we can think that we're somewhere when actually we've moved forward and not recognised that. So like the scenario in my counselling course this week, I believed there was still something back there for me to get. But by listening to my own body's conversation, no, the only thing holding me back was me. And that may be the case for people this week in particular. Many of us are in a completely new fall-like situation, but it is about recognizing when it's time to jump and when it isn't time to jump. Honoring the sacred masculine within us now, our actions, knowing that it's the endurance that has built this intuition within us, but also letting it be free, seeing what happens with that now. Big changes available this week in particular if we take the higher perspective. And that higher perspective comes from combining what we feel and what we sense. Going within, finding our own way forward this week. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcanas, 4 beautiful pillars of strength there. And I'm seeing pillars of truth, justice, strength, mercy. There, whatever those 4 pillars are to you, recognizing what 4 things are important to you and your soul's development this week. That's what's going to give the security of the medicine wheel. What 4 aspects of life are important to you, using them this week as your guardians almost to move forward. I'm going to do that when I finish this video. You'll find that by going within. You'll find that by treating every day as a new day, by starting the journey again. You might find that your morals, they're morals, you might find that your morals have changed, but you're not going to realise that until you go within and feel what's going on. You're not going to realise that until you appreciate that this is a new part of the journey. This is a new part of the journey. Draw that line. So that's the major arcana. We then have 1 sword. No, that's a fire. I keep seeing the ace of fire as an ace of swords. I keep seeing the arrow as the ace of swords. I want to say let your thoughts guide you this week, but it's not. It's let your higher thoughts guide you this week. Yeah, because we have the ace of fire and the ace of air. So it is that spiritual mind. Let your spiritual mind guide you this week. Have fun with it. It feels really light, actually. So 1, 2, 2 fire cards here. Again, beautiful, beautiful balance. And we have the father of fire and the ace of fire. So again, it's that connecting to that masculine, sacred masculine spirit within you and having fun with that. Almost as a treat for all the endurance, almost as a treat for all the endurance, making that promise of, okay, I'm going to see this differently now. I'm going to see my actions differently now, and I'm going to take them forward in a different way. Then we have one cup card. Just double check. Yes, 1 cup card here. And it is connection to source. It's the 7 of cups. Okay, so all those times when you feel a bit confused about how you feel or where this might be going or all the options in front of you, it's only 1 cup card, even though it's the 7. Connect to something higher. Connect to your heart, connect to your vision, connect to where you would like to be, and think about how you bring that forward. Is this relevant to where I'd like to be? Simple as that. That way you let go of all the excess. That way you can almost streamline your journey this week. And then there is there's 2 because there's the 6 of earth with the breakthrough. 2 pentacle cards here. Again, a beautiful balance. So we have 2 wands, 2 pentacles, 1 cup and 1 sword. But the 2 pentacles, let's go back to the 2 pentacles here. We have breakthrough with security. Okay, so that pretty much says what it says on the tin. And it feels important to recognize that we have one air card and one cup card here, not to let our thoughts and our emotions make things complicated. Does it feel good? In my mind, is it clear? Boom. Okay, that's how we get that breakthrough of our own security, by recognizing how aligned it feels to us now. Is it part of my vision? So, I was just thinking I can see why to work with the Vision Quest Tarot now, because it's like, it's been a very long time since I've connected to that energy, and I'm not going to lie, the messages trying to come through and to try and keep it focused have been interesting, to say the least. And it was just, as I said, is it part of my vision? I thought, right, I'll just pick a card for us collectively. And what we actually have is Temperance, and it's integration. Okay, so yes, the energies may feel a bit scattered this week. They may feel it's multidimensional. But it's almost like different aspects of us have shifted. And now it's about bringing them all back, integrating them all, embodying them all. Okay, so interesting week, but Temperance helps us to move forward. This is what we're being prepared for in leading up to Imbolc. It doesn't feel like there's huge changes this week. The biggest change comes from the decision to change, and that may not feel like enough, but it's monumental. So yeah, really just taking that time to connect to that and integrate the fact that many of us have changed, the fact that many of us no longer want to be where we were. We are ready for this change. Just recognizing on a mind, body, soul level, we are ready for this change, and integrating that. Having security and belief in ourselves as catalysts for change. Interesting week. I may be back next week, I may not. Take care. I shall see you later.